How y'all doing? Good, good. It's been a couple of years since I've been here, so it's always interesting when you get around folks that you kind of know, and it's just we had a great time already at the table out here. It's like when you haven't been somewhere for 2 years and you kind of see people, and I've been in a bunch of fights since I've seen you guys last, and so it's always good. Always good to be back in Tulsa. So it's, I don't even know where to start because there's been so much stuff that has happened. But the one thing that I have learned through all this drama that we've all kind of been through in the last couple of years is if you're young, you really don't grasp. Is there any ORU students here today? Really? Really? You're wooing for that? Whatever, man. All right. Because I used to speak there way before you guys were even born. I was there every year for a long time. And when you're around younger folks that haven't been through a lot, haven't been through tough times, toughest thing for some of you guys is you lost your phone charger, But when you get a little older, you've been through a little bit of life, and you've been slapped some other people around, and you kind of understand the toughness of life. I've watched a lot of young people kind of fade off into the distance over these last 2 years because they're just not tough enough. So y'all need to listen to me because you're going to hear stuff today you're not going to hear in school. Okay? I got more degrees than a thermometer, and none of it did me any good. Because it's just living life. I have 2 good friends that are homeless that live under a bridge in New York, and they have 2 earned PhDs. So education doesn't impress me. Yeah, I've got them, so what? That doesn't mean jack in the scheme of things. So I'm working on my medical degree now, mostly for my own benefit, because I have to take care of myself. And so I had to laugh at that Paris thing because my MD is going to be from the University of Paris, which is kind of funny. It's just like, all I know is oui, because you kind of need to know that more than anything when you're over there. But it's been an interesting 2 years for me, and it's, for those of you that don't know me, this just kind of goes wherever it goes. I've been in the ministry for 50 years. I've been shot twice. This was my 5th concussion. Got it in Haiti 3 weeks ago. I've been in 3 plane crashes. And I've worked with Christians for 50 years. So I don't know which was more traumatic. This last Haiti thing or working with that anyways. So, but when you're a speaker, like I drive the bus in New York to pick up the kids. Our Sunday school is 6 days a week. My day's Saturday. So I drive the bus, we do Sunday school. Then I get on the last flight out of LaGuardia and come and do this somewhere. And so it's very funny when people try to introduce me, particularly those that don't know me. Because how do you do that? You can't really make any of it really make sense. But what he said was exactly right. Because when you get a chance to be around people more than this, because all of you know how to act in church. You young people don't, but you'll learn. But when you've been around church and you learn to speak the language of church, because if you're going to be accepted in any institution, you have to learn how to speak the language, or you never get accepted. And that's why I don't speak the language. I just turned 73 a couple of weeks ago, and so I've been waiting to be 73 years old all my life. Because the great part about now, I don't care. Because I don't have to care. It's the beauty of getting older. It's just kind of that neat thing where it's like, hey, if you like me, fine. If you don't, give him the offering, shut up, go home. Just do what you need to do and get on with it. But I like what he said about the whole friend thing. I know there's a bunch of people that would consider me my friend or their friend. I get that. But when you flip that and you go, I wonder how many people could I really say I know unequivocally? And I'll use big words sometimes to justify the PhD. It just makes me feel better. It's way too expensive. How many people can you really say that you know, that no matter where you are, no matter what's up with you, you can call them on the phone and you know they got you. And the older you get, that group diminishes. What's another PhD word? Exponentially. Mm-hmm. So, thank you, sir. Thank you for being my friend. I hope you know what you've got in these two up here. I hope you know. Because I do. So, usually I'm introduced and then I just get up to preach because half the time I don't really have anything good to say about where I am. So I'm not going to lie about it. I just get up and preach and go back, get a donut, and go back to the room. But give me that stuff I gave you. What's your name? Josh? All right, Josh. Thank you. Just toss right there. Got a couple of things on the table. Thank you, sir. So let me just walk you through them. You're not a guest speaker unless you're selling something. And so I hate to be outdone by any of those other knuckleheads. Hey, this is a big deal. We had a lot of water damage in a flood. So we got a bunch of water damage stuff back here, these hoodies. They're not bad, but it's just water. So I'm giving these for $5. So if anybody needs a hoodie, they look kind of crummy in the front, but it's $5, so don't complain, okay? So it's a water damage special, all right? Sunday only. We ain't even got a blue light back here. All right. What else we got? Oh, yeah. I think I had these the last time I was here. Can you do close-ups on that camera? Yo. All right. Give me a close-up. All right. So some of our ladies that live in the garbage dump in the Philippines make these. They wait for the garbage trucks to come in the morning. And they get the magazines, the glossy magazines, and then they cut them into strips this wide. They wet them, roll them up, and then they put like a, what do you call it, Josh? How old are you? Okay, well, you should know this. Okay. It's like a rosin? Is that the right word? Like a resin? Why am I? Do you actually know this? No. Rosin. Shut up. All right. Anyways, they put something on here. For those of you sitting up front, if I spit on you, I get both shots, and I've got the antibodies, so I'm good. Just so you know. And then they have one of them has a like a dentist drill, and they drill in there, and then they bead these things together to make these bracelets, necklaces, and so in these last couple of years, I've got two of those gals that for the first time, because now I take them. They were just selling them on the street in Manila. I said, no, this is too cool. I'll take them, send them to me. I'll take them out when I'm out on Sunday. So because of this, over these last couple of years, they've been able to get both of their kids into school, feed their family, school for the first time through this. So I want you guys to know what this is. It's not some dopey little James Robinson thing. This is kind of the real deal, okay? What? Hey, I know people. I know people who know people. All right? Okay, so anyways, and it's whatever you want to give. And I think I had just finished this book. It's the only hardback book. I think I finished it before I was with you guys It was a couple years ago. It was when I was here. It's based on that American colloquialism, the 1,000-pound elephant in the room. You know, it's that thing, it's in front of you, but like nobody wants to talk about it. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to get 50 elephants, one for every year in the ministry. Things that nobody likes to talk about in church, the decision-making process, you know. And I thought, I'm just going to put a bunch of these things together. It's the funniest thing, because people are using this like in small groups, cell groups, or whatever you call your group. And they use it as a discussion starter, and it's perfect, because this thing will make people mad. That's why I did it. That was the point, just to irritate church people, okay? But it's perfect because it's a hardback. So if anybody gets stupid, you just smack them in Jesus' name. You know, if you're going to smack somebody in church, you got to do it in Jesus' name. You got to try to make it spiritual. It's perfect. Does anybody here have somebody in your life that needs to be smacked? Anybody? Oh, right here, right up front. It's not him. Oh, is it him? Oh, no, you're busted now. There you go. All right. So anyways, Merry Christmas. All right. So there's a bunch of stuff back there. So we talked about the sponsorship. This is a little bit more on the serious side. Over the years, I first started coming here in, I think, 2008, if I remember correctly. And I remembered it because what I'm going to talk to you about in a few minutes, I actually used it as an illustration in the message that I preached the first time I was here. And I've kind of, in light of these last 2 years, I've developed it into something. I'm going to talk to you about that in a couple minutes. What time do we need to get out of here? What's the usual time? Okay, don't. Because I know better than that. You usually go for 12 o'clock. Is that kind of normal? Oh, 11:45. Okay. Yeah, we can do that. That's easy. Okay. So that's too loud. Is it too loud for you? It's too loud for me. Turn it down on the monitors. Psst. All right. You got it? All right. So what this is, for those of you guys that haven't, that sounds better to me. If you have not been a part of the sponsorship program, it gives you a chance to take one of our kids, Metro Haiti, Metro Philippines, Metro Kenya, and become that. And I know you guys see stuff on TV. I get it. I see the same junk, okay? And you look at that stuff and you go, you kind of give it the dog look, and you go, is that right, wrong? I get it, okay? So this thing is a little bit different in the sense that we had a bunch of people that from here that went with me to the Philippines a couple of years ago to visit their sponsored kid. You can be as involved in your sponsored child as you choose to be. It's a little bit of a different program in that there's no middleman. In any of those other sponsorship programs, you have a middle guy that you know how the middle guys do. Y'all know what I'm saying? Okay. There's no middleman here. This is our ministry. This is what we do. There is no middleman. There's no outside people. All right? So whether you come ride my bus in New York, go to the Philippines with me, we're trying to figure out if we can do it in March. It's still kind of a mess there, so I don't know. But if any of you are interested in going there with me, I go for a week, and I take people from all over the world. Chat with me after the service. But it's a $33 a month commitment. Normally, I like to tell a story, and I show some pictures of some things that have happened, some good stuff that have happened with the kids. Like we just got one little girl in the Philippines, had a broken back, had a deformity. We just was able to get her back fixed. She's walking now, and the sponsor was a big part of that. That's normally kind of how I talk to you guys about it. But something happened. It's been probably over 2 months ago now, that we'd been trying to get one of the kids in Kenya sponsored. And I don't know why we couldn't get him sponsored. Part of it, I think, because his face was a little bit deformed. And You know how folks are. I'm not being mean. You know how people think sometimes they don't understand. So I was telling Pastor before we came out, this thing in Kenya now, these wannabe doctors, they pretend like they're doctors, kind of like U.S. guys. And so what they do, they pay guys to go out on the street and steal eyeballs from people. Yeah, guys, I've been all over the world. I've seen more than I should have. But this was a whole new one for me, okay? So what they do, they pay people $100 to just go up on the street, take their fingers and rip people's eyes out. Okay, so I heard about it, but I'm thinking, because you hear, there's a lot of craziness. Harvests selling organs in some parts of the world because it's just big money. But I hadn't heard of this, because once you rip somebody's eye out, that's kind of it. All right, so here's what they do. They pay somebody $100 to go steal an eyeball, and genetically, Kenya, a lot of folks have issues with their vision. So what these scam guys have done, they pay $100 to get an eye, and then they charge people $1,000 to replace their eye that they can't see out of. Well, naturally, you're just not going to get an eye from somebody and stick it in somebody else and expect it to work. But it's Africa. There's no recourse. So they're making like $900 for these operations. I'm telling you this because one of our team members that had been around this little boy that we have been trying to get sponsored, okay, I would not normally show this in some place where people don't know me, and that's why I told him. But most of you guys know me, so you know what I do. You know what the deal is. But I'm showing this to you so you understand when you look at those pictures back there. These are not stock National Geographic pictures. These are real kids. These are our kids that we have committed our lives to. And we give you guys an opportunity to be a part of that team that's trying to raise these kids and take care of them. So bring the lights down, please. This is a very short video, but I don't think there's little kids in here, right? If there is, or somebody that acts like a little kid, just understand. I'm setting this up so you know where this is going. You may not want, if there are a couple of kids, you may not want them to see this. But I need you to understand this is not a movie. This is not a game. This is real life. And some people can deal with real life, and some people cannot. You guys know that. Americans, unfortunately, have a tendency to live in a bit of a bubble. We all know that. I think especially in the city. I don't mean that badly, but we all know. We know where we are. We know how this works. So, if you will roll this, please. This was the little boy and what had happened. That's close enough. Good enough. Cut it. So this guy goes over, snatches the guy out, and then some of the other folks that saw it executed street justice. And sometimes you just got to execute street justice, especially when they're letting criminals out now with no bail. But that's another message. I'm showing this to you guys because I want you to know that this is what I do. I make a choice when I go out every week to step into someone else's world. I get it. I used to be much more comfortable in this world, I think, than I am now. Not this church, but just the church world. When I was younger, I think I did better. I do. Looking back, I think I don't do that good now because I'm just mad. I'm just mad. And if that offends you, I'm sorry, but I guess it's just been a little bit too much. Some of you are asking me about this thing. had a call from the lady. If you remember, because I shared this with you guys several years ago, when those girls were kidnapped by Boko Haram in Nigeria, and there was the gal in Southern California that said, can you go and get some of these girls back? I won't rehash all that, but because when I worked with George Bush Sr., I made a lot of friends in Washington, mostly in the military. So I kept a lot of names and a lot of numbers from that year in Washington. So I got 2 ex-SEALs, 2 ex-Marines through this long series of events. We went in there, found out where the girls were, because one of their friends still has access to the satellites in MacDill in Tampa. So went in, it was a 3 a.m. deal. They took out the 4 guards, and they wouldn't give me a gun. I wanted a gun. They wouldn't give me a gun. I was so mad. So they took out the 4 guards. I just had the night vision and the satellite phone. And so once they took those out, those are the only guys we saw. And then when the shooting started, another guard came out of the tent holding this girl up by the hair. And I saw it through the night vision. And I yelled at the guys through the comms. But before they could take him out, I saw this guy take the machete and cut the little girl's head off. So that same lady that financed that op to go in there, we got 23 of those girls out, back to their families, which was great. Well, now I got the call a couple of weeks ago, same lady. She said, look, do you have any connections in Haiti? I said, I've spent a lot of time in that country. We have Metro Sunday School in Port-au-Prince. For years, I've been going in and out of there. Haiti, even on a good day, is just bad. Well, now when they assassinated the president in July, that place is just a free-for-all. It really is a mess. So I said, look, I know some people. She said, can you just get proof of life? Find out, because you guys saw in the news those 17 missionaries, they have been kidnapped. The backstory, because you know there's always a backstory, is they're Mormons and what's the other one? Not Mormons, I'm sorry. Mennonites and Amish. They combined, took 17 of them, okay, went over there in a bus. In a bus, they're driving from the orphanage. Okay, you've got 17 folks that are just look like a bunch of tourists in a bus. They might as well painted a target on it, and they got jumped. And these guys, that's how they make a living, is kidnapping. So they've got these 17 folks. She said, can you just see if they're alive? Great. So I go in, and I'm shortening this up a lot, but you'll get the idea. So I got my guys from Port-au-Prince, and this lady in Southern California that does these things is very heavily connected in the political system, okay? So she had one of the CIA guys go with me. So we get up to Port-au-Bouquet, and it's about 20 clicks north of Port-au-Prince. So you get to get proof of life. You've got to have some kind of, get pictures of the people and a timestamp of something so you know it's legit. And I've done this before. So I know what to do, so we go in there. So the 2 guys that show up for this meeting, they've got a picture on the phone, but there's only 5 of these people. So I'm thinking, hey, where's the other ones? No, I said, no. I said, I need to know that all of them are alive. So we and I may have pushed it a little harder, but that was why I was there, to find out. And so it's all about intimidation. That's all how these guys, how they play this game. So the guy nods to the other guy. He goes in the back, pulls out a Haitian woman, and in front of me and my guys and the CIA guy, they rip her top off, take a machete, and cut her breasts off. So I'm standing here like this, right? And I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, okay, this is how this is going to go. And then nodded to the other guy. he had a 12 gauge, hit me in the head with the butt of the 12 gauge. That's what this is. And I'm a little over 3 weeks out now. And that's when the CIA guy took me. He said, we need to go. We need to go. I tell you guys this probably for only one reason. And I'm going to try to pick my words carefully here. But for those of you that know me, you'll know what I'm getting ready to say. I have said for years, the church has to speak louder than all the voices that are around us. And unfortunately, the church, by and large, does not do that. We have to speak louder, folks, than all the voices that are saying, doing, yelling, hollering, now threatening that if the new mayor of New York City, who I know, he's been to a couple of our meetings, ends up putting the anti-crime unit back on the street, that there's going to be riots and bloodshed. I live there. I've lived there for 41 years. I get it. I get it. I've been in riots. I've been in fights. You know that. When you've been shot a couple of times and you're out still, I live there. I don't live in New Jersey I live there. And if I'm not there, I'm out dealing with this kind of stuff. So, we live in difficult times, my friends, in this country. We all know that. We all know that. And unless the church rises to a different level than where it is now, you know where this is going. You know where this is going. So, as I speak to you today, understand I'm not a 20-year-old punk that's going to some Bible school. Sorry. I've been down the road. And yeah, the PhD's great. The medical degree that I'm getting, that's great. I'm fine with all that. Okay? But at the end of it all, it's still the church is going to be the only salvation, literally and figuratively, that this country has. And as we go through the next few moments here, I need you to ask yourself, how did you deal with these last couple of years? How did you deal with it? How did it affect you? There's people watching online. We're glad you're watching online. But there is no substitute for being in the house. Let me say that again for the cheap seats in the back. There is no substitute for being in the house. Not forsaking the assembling of yourselves together. Hey, I know maybe some of you, this is what you get, and that's great. We're glad you're tuned in. It's much easier to sit in your house and watch church in your underwear. I get it. Okay? Better you sit in your underwear there than here. So, and I think we all agree with that. But how did these last couple of years affect you guys? We worked in the COVID hospital. It was about a mile from the headquarters in Brooklyn. I knew I was going to get it. I had all the stuff on me because, see, in those hospitals, especially in New York, not even the family was allowed to go in and visit. So how is it that we got invited to go in, to pray with the nurses, pray with the doctors? You know why? Because that's 41 years talking. We've proved it. We've earned it. That's 41. See, it's the long game, my friends. It's not people floating around, going here, there, willy-nilly. No, it's the long game. Steadfast, moving one direction. Everybody knows exactly who we are and what we do. But continuity isn't a strength of the next generation coming up. So if you're a millennial here today and you don't like what I'm about to say, please talk to me at the back table. I got in a fist fight in Jacksonville. It's about 6 months ago. Some guy was acting stupid, smacked an old guy around, and I'm an old guy. but I'm just a little bit quicker than a lot of old guys. So he was asking for it. He got it. And there was a cleanup on aisle 4. So, but just remember, I'm 73 years old. So a life sentence is not a deterrent for me. It's just not. So before you say or do something stupid at the back table, you better count the cost, Bubba. I'm just throwing it out there, just so we're all sorted. But unless this generation that's coming up gets a bit of a spine, understands when I say your commitment has to be stronger than your emotions. It's not about how you feel. I don't feel good. Shut up. Nobody cares how you feel. It's not about how you feel. It's about making a commitment as for me and my house. At me, my house. This is what we're doing. This is where we're going. We're speaking with a louder voice. It's not here, there, all over the place. It's saying, this is what we do. We are rising up to take this country back and making a difference, that the Lord is still who he is. Whether anybody in government, you know what I'm saying. So I'm hoping in these next couple of minutes that what I want to give to you in light of this. Some of you know we had 7 families that were staff members in Afghanistan. We had Metro in Kabul. It started just about 6 months before COVID hit. They were not Americans. They were Afghans. But when that debacle happened at the airport, which was done totally backwards, that's why it went the way it went, and 13 of our folks ended up getting killed because of a very bad decision. So they weren't Afghans. They didn't have the SIV visas. They weren't drivers for the American military. They were just Christians. And we all know that Christians are always the ones at the bottom of the barrel. So I thought, okay, then we'll just do it ourselves. So we got 4 of the families out. One of the family was killed by the Taliban. One missed the extraction point, and one started walking to Tajikistan, to the north. But because we got 4 of our families out, the word spread through the Christian community, and now we are right at getting 300 Christians out. We're right at 300 as of right now. So you can give God a praise. You ought to. We worked out land routes, worked through on buses, had code words. And I want you guys to know, and I say this because him and I have talked about this, and I believe I touched on it the last time I was here. I really am your missionary. I represent this church all over this world. I may not do things the way you would do it. This little thing here and the Afghanistan thing, it's not always pleasant. It's not pretty. But we will get it done. One way or another, we will get it done in Jesus' name. We will save people's lives. We will get them out of situations. So I want you to know I represent you. And when I ask you to pray for me, that's not a cute little request. This is real life, guys. This is real life. And for some of you younger folks that are studying for something, if you're in your first year, you don't even know what you're studying for. But whatever you're studying for, you let me know when you're ready to toughen up. Okay? Let me know. Take a run with me. Take a ride. We stayed in a couple of caves in Kenya. That's another story. We'll save that for the next time. But it's because of churches like this. It's because these guys right here that have a heart for missions in a time when missions has become passé in churches in America. It used to be, you remember, Pastor, missions was primary. It's not anymore. But thank God for a church like this that still missions is primary. Missions is critical. Reaching the world, loving the world, stretching out is still a priority. And thank you, sir, for never losing that heart. I want you to get your Bible out quickly, if you will, please. Like I said, I'll be at the back table for as long as I need to be after the service. There's already 2 people that have walked out, so hopefully a few more will. And if I don't have at least 5 or 6 people that get mad and leave, I didn't feel like I did my job. And so we're almost there. We got 2. Couldn't take it. So that's not too bad. Open to the book of Judges, if you will. The book of Judges. Somebody asked me why I wear a suit and tie still when I get up to preach. Same reason why I read a King James Bible. Same reason why I don't look at it on a phone. Number 1, it's too small to read on a phone. And number 2, I just like to do things that irritate people. So I just kind of do what I've always done because it worked. It just works. Nothing outdated. Where was I? I was in Atlanta, Georgia. And as I said, I kind of used a little bit of this thought in an illustration because I just discovered it the first time I preached here. But in light of these last 2 years, in light of all these things that have happened to me over these last 2 years, I put together a message built around it, so I hope it'll encourage you. So I'm in Atlanta speaking with the Southern Baptist Convention Sunday school leadership. They wanted to know how Metro became the largest Sunday school in the world because they thought the Baptists had a corner on that. And knowing that I was Pentecostal, that just irritated them. So, and I never want to miss an opportunity just to go in and just dig it a little bit deeper. So we're sitting in this room, this conference room, and man, I mean, we were 4 or 5 hours. I had my little PowerPoint thing, and I was explaining how we do it and what we do, and the bus ministry and how it's gone all over the world. So finally, the leader, he said, Pastor, he said, would you give us a few minutes? We want to go out and talk amongst ourselves. Then we'll come back. He said, would you mind staying here by yourself for a few moments? Okay, what am I supposed to say? Okay, so see, they didn't know me. I've got that ADD thing. You don't leave people like me unattended anywhere for an extended period of time. You just don't do it. So I thought, all right. So I'm sitting in this conference room, nothing in there except some filing cabinets. So I'm thinking, all right, let me just look through their drawers, so to speak. So I'm just rummaging stuff. Okay. And then I find a file that says confidential. Things that make you go, exactly. You know that song better than you know the church songs, don't you? I knew you would. So I get the folder out. I'm thinking they're Baptist. How confidential can this be? And if it was, why would you leave it in a place where someone like me can find it? That's just bad. Anyway, so I'm sitting at the table, flipping through this, and I thought, this really is confidential. Let me tell you what it was. So, it was a result of a 5-year study that the Southern Baptists had done, trying to figure out why people were quitting the denomination. Now, I understand why those of us up here quit. I get that. Okay? Nothing personal, but I get this. Okay? But I wasn't quite sure, because you hear all kinds of stuff, denominations, the day of the denomination, and I get that. And there's some justification for that. But I'm thinking, okay, 5 years, this would be interesting. So, but I knew these guys were coming back any minute. I'll tell you something, if there had been a copy machine in that room, I'd have copied that sucker in a heartbeat. Because there was some pretty good information. But I knew I didn't have that kind of time. So I flipped to the back. Okay, what's the end result? What is it? Here's what I read. Let me throw it at you, see if it makes sense. So, you've got people, whether it's up here, the folks up here, or the folks down here. I thought there would be kind of a difference of the reasoning or the issues or the drama. Surprisingly, not. Here's what the study found. People run into a battle. They get in a struggle, have a problem. Didn't matter what it was. Physical, social, emotional, financial, whatever. But they have a fight. They have a struggle, a battle of some kind. But they plow through it. Get through it. Good to go. All right, so then, whether it was 6 months, a year after, they go through something else. You guys know, this is life. You go through something, you deal with it, you get in, and you just keep plowing, okay? All of us that have any years on us at all of us have reasons we could have quit. We could have walked away. Last month, 1,342 licensed or ordained preachers quit the ministry in the United States. Now, if we line those suckers up and ask them, did God call you? You know, most of them would say, oh, yeah, he called me. Okay. And what? Well, somebody lied about me. And you're the first one. Somebody stole money. Okay. And you're the first one? No, I'm tired. Shut up. Okay, come on, man. And you want to just slap somebody. So you're telling me that the God who created the heavens and the earth, everything else is made in China, but the God, well, it just is. It just is. And it's all sitting at the LA port. It's sitting out there, man. But you're telling me that the God who created the heavens and the earth, and then you got offended? We got offended. I'll offend you. Yeah, offend this. Okay? You want to be offended? That's my middle name. Come on, folks. Come on. The fight that we are in is much bigger than any offense, than any foolishness, than anything that the devil is going to throw at you. Because, see, the devil has never been smart enough to be creative. He can't be. He's too stupid. So it's the same stuff. Read your Bible. I got to do it over here. Okay. Read your Bible. It doesn't change, folks. It doesn't change. It's all the same. Only the names change. That's how this goes. So when you look back at the past and you see it's this, the enemy's going to throw everything at you to do what? To get you to quit. It's all about getting you to quit. Because if you quit, he wins, the game's over. And so okay, all right. Tell me something I don't know. You'll be hard pressed. It's all the same, guys. So what happens? What happens? So they go through a battle, they get through it, go through another battle, go through it, and it becomes a succession of battles, of fights. But here's the hook. Now see if this registers. And then most of these folks that walk away, they come to one last fight, one last battle. And it's, what's that phrase we use? The straw that breaks the camel's back. We all know that one. If you don't, you're a millennial, okay? It's the straw that breaks the camel's back. It's that last fight, the last battle that becomes that proverbial breaking point. That's when they fold it up and go. Now, if you're visiting here today, please come back next week. They are great people. That's why I'm only here once a year. Okay. This is why. You're living it right now. They're great, okay? That last battle, that last fight where they snap, they break, and just say, that's it, I'm done, I'm out. Okay, I get it. Now, hold on to that, because now go to Judges. Now, follow me on this, and I want to see where this takes us. I think I prayed late last night, early this morning, Let's just connect with you guys. Go to this 20th chapter of Judges. Let me set it up for you. They were picking people to fight in a critical, pivotal battle. Let me say it again. A critical, pivotal battle. In fact, the nature, the future of that nation is now hinging in large part on this fight. Did you get that? Slap the person next to you. Tell them you better get this. You can go back to sleep after you get that, but you better get this. Better get this. So they are picking people to fight in this fight. Pick it up at the 14th verse and the 20th chapter. It says, but the children of Benjamin gathered themselves together out of the cities unto Gibeah to go out to battle against the children of Israel. They're getting ready to fight. The fight for the nation. The fight for the future. Verse 15. The children of Benjamin were numbered at that time out of the cities 26,000 men that drew sword, beside the inhabitants of Gibeah, which were numbered 700 chosen men. Now, I teach Old Testament in a couple of universities in Europe. I was actually working on this book of Judges. I said, I've used this as an illustration here when I first kind of was fooled. That was a long time ago. But in light of what's happened these last 2 years, I've taken this truth and I wanted to give it to you in its entirety. And I hope, I trust that it'll encourage some of you. So, 26,000 men, and then they found 700 chosen men. Now I'm not going to talk to you in Hebrew, but let me talk to you about this word chosen in Hebrew. If I needed, let's see, let's go back to the students over here. I always enjoy that. Let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. If I just needed a bright, vivacious, magnanimous, ORU student, I could pick any one of you 4 right there, and I'm sure you would fit the bill. I have no question. I could choose any one of you. That word chosen there doesn't mean this. It didn't mean that they were just chosen abstractly to fight. This word chosen here, when you do a transliteration of that, what it means is they were specifically hand-picked, hand-chosen for a specific reason. Now, follow me. So you've got the 26,000. Then you've got these 700 chosen men, hand-picked, selected for a reason. Look at verse 16. These 700 chosen men were all left-handed. Now, see, that's what got my attention. When I first started digging into this, that was the hook for me. Because as most of you know, only 9% of the world's population is left-handed at any time. I don't know why that is, but it seems to be the average percentage going back when they started keeping percentages of left-handed people. So you got 9% of the population that's left-handed, and yet they're getting ready to fight this fight, and somewhere they found 700 left-handed people. Okay, now, I know that's weird. That's already strange. But I also know there is no, let me have a PhD moment. There is no superfluous banter anywhere in the book. What was your little sign you had up here? Live by the word? Yeah. So all of you know the word. No superfluous banter in the word. It's all there for a reason. Every one of them, every part of it. So for these new young preachers now that only preach on the New Testament, I'm supposed to have a meeting with a couple of them soon. I can hardly wait. Don't call yourself a preacher of the word if you're not willing to understand the entire word. The entire word. The entire word. They're just too lazy to preach out of the Old Testament because you got to work at it. You got to understand it. You got to understand history. So it's just easy. Okay, that had nothing to do with what I was going to say. All right, so 700 chosen men. Now look at 16. Then these 700 chosen men, left-handed, semicolon, every one of them could sling stones at a hair and not miss. Now, being as I've been doing this for 50 years, I've learned a few things that when you read, most people, they'll read a story, they'll just read it. I'm not going to ask you how many of you read your Bible in the bathroom. I won't do that because I've never understood it. Why? I believe that most people can only do one thing well at a time. So why then, how now, brown cow, why then would you even remotely want to read your Bible in the toilet? Are you nuts? I don't know. It's this enigmatic question. All right. So what do we got? We got 26,000 men picked, and then 700 hand-chosen, hand-picked men that were all left-handed, and they could hit a hair with a stone and not miss. So I'm on a mission. I am on a mission, particularly after I started digging on this all those years ago. I don't buy books by American authors. It's just the same old stuff. It's kind of a rehash. You know, not everybody's going to have their best day ever these last year. So, having said that, I don't buy books by American authors. Same stuff. My books are different. They're very different out there. So it's a different vibe. So because my PhD is from the University of Wales, and I teach a couple of universities over in that part of the world, there's a lot of these old bookshops. I love the old bookstores. You get some of the stuff written by those preachers from the 1700s, the 1800s. They had a way of interpreting text and speaking because they were historians. When you become a historian, you have a much better chance to do an accurate exegesis of a text if you know the background. Those old guys understood history. Consequently, when they spoke and when they wrote, that comes out. Now, I think it was, I can't remember what year it was, when some of you may have been here, when I had the staff, the message on the staff. Remember that? And nobody had ever heard that. I hadn't either, till I stumbled across it, how the staff was a diary from those Old Testament guys. And they would carve and write in there. That's history, folks. When you understand the historical background in something, then it's like, and I got it. So I'm on this thing. So there's a little village called Hay-on-Wye. It's on the Wye River there in Wales. It's a great bookshop. They drop me off at 9 in the morning, pick me up at 5, and get all the books, box them up, and I have them ship them back to New York. Well, this is the time that I'm working on this. I'm trying to figure this thing out. Can't get it. You look in American commentaries. When you look up this, you would be shocked to see how little there is, let alone an explanation. There was one commentary that says, they were left-handed because they were not right-handed. Okay. I paid a lot of money for that commentary. I need to write my own stinking commentary. I could have done better than that. So anyways, so I can't find it. And I'm digging in Europe now. Nothing. And I'm in this little bookstore with this little man. He comes to the counter. I walk in, and I thought he was leaning down, but he wasn't. It was like his head was just, and I'm not being mean, but his head was just kind of just above the counter. And I said, do you have a theology department? He goes, it's in the basement. Okay. He said, you're going to need this. And he gives me a flashlight. They're British. They're too cheap to turn on the lights. And so they give you this little flashlight. So I'm crawling down the stairs. And it's like you're in the movie The Shining. I love this kind of stuff. The weirder it is, the better it is. So I got this little flashlight, and I'm poking around. So when I kind of settled down, I thought, all right, now you need to find something. So I'm digging, looking, and I found one book, one volume on Judges by this old preacher by the name of White. I thought, okay, let's see what he has to say. So there's no chairs down there, just a couple of crates. So I sit on the crate. I got the flashlight in my mouth, and I'm flipping through, and there it was. There it is. See, I knew if I looked long enough, there was something there. I was going to find it. I knew I was going to find it, and here it is. You know what he says? He gives kind of the whole backstory. He says, these men were left-handed because they were no longer right-handed. Aha. Some of you are slow, but you're worth waiting for. It's just what you've got here, my God. What you've got was 700 men that used to be right-handed, but in a battle somewhere, in a fight somewhere on the field, maybe they lost a finger, maybe they lost a hand, maybe they lost an arm. Now watch this. See, in today's military, if you get wounded in action, you're out. You go, you don't get a vote, you go home. But in the Bible days, if you got wounded in action, they gave you the option. You can go home or you can stay in the fight. So what you've got, these 700 men used to be right-handed. But in a battle somewhere, they were, what would we call it? Wounded. See, you get our folks today, they get wounded in a battle, they're calling 1-800-CRYBABY. Somebody, oh, please, shut up. Come on, man. These guys, see, they understood, number one, the battle. They understood, number two, their place in the battle. They understood, number three, the importance of the battle. So they could have left, they could have quit, they could have had somebody feel sorry for them. But instead, they said, okay, I can't use this, but I got a little something here that I can work this thing and do this. Why do you think it says, and they could hit a hair with a stone and not miss? I did a little research on how those guys used to practice with the slingshots. You know how they do it? That made sense when I read this. They would take horsehair, either from the mane or from the tail, tie one end around a tree branch, tie the other end to a stone to keep it from blowing in the wind. And the guys that were really good, like really worked at it, they could hit a horsehair with a stone from 25 to 30 yards away. I can't even see a horsehair 30 yards away. But they could hit the hair with a stone. Do you have any idea what if you were right-handed all of your life? And then all of a sudden, you made the decision to change up. See, I read once, I was reading in the life of Alexander the Great, and I didn't get it then. I should have, but I didn't. That even though his guys were not ambidextrous, but he taught them to fight with the other hand. Now, it didn't mean anything when I was reading it in the life of Alexander the Great. It did now. It did now. So you can say, I've done this all my life. I can't fight anymore. I can't do anything anymore. I might as well go home and feel sorry for myself and quit because I'm washed up. No, there were 700 that understood who they were, why they were, and said, I'm going to be better. The thing that the enemy tried to use against them to take them out of the battle actually became the motivating factor for them to do better. Left hand, my God, I'm going to slap somebody. Y'all got to get this, folks. It became the motivating factor. Didn't discourage them. Didn't make them quitters. They said, oh, yeah, all right. Yeah, you know, yeah. Okay. You think I'm going to quit? I'm going to be better left-handed than I ever was right-handed. I'm going to be better before. I'm going to be better after COVID than I ever was before COVID. I'm going to do more for God after COVID than I ever did before. You need to slap somebody and tell them, it's after COVID, folks. We're moving. We're moving. We're going to do something. We're going to get more done, more accomplished for the kingdom of God than we ever did before the virus ever hit. You watch me. You watch me. You watch and you see. You're going to see it because there's a remnant of folks. There's a remnant of people that are just ready. They're ready. They're working on it. They're working. And they're working. Because when the time comes, you get that slingshot and you just turn that sucker loose. And together. See, that's the power of partnership. When I was watching this thing with those young people in France, I'm thinking, man, moving. It's out there. It's about the teamwork. It's 700 men. Now, all right, we're running out of time. Some of you need to be taking notes here. Don't look at me. Write this down. Are we recording this? Yo, what finger? It's a thumb. Okay, got it. All right. No, I can't see the guy. All right. I jotted 3 things down. I'm going to give them to you real quick, and then we'll be done. The things that I picked up from this, and you can obviously add your own, but see how this clicks with you. 3 observations. Number one, if you're still right-handed here, if you have not been wounded, if you've not been beat up, banged around, knocked around, if you haven't, your socks ought to be going up and down right now. You ought to be jumping up and down. Yeah, if you haven't been wounded, if you're still right-handed, you ought to be excited. But just let me remind you, your time's coming. That doesn't sound like faith. Faith got nothing to do with it. It's living life. If you live your life long enough, life, my friends, will shut your mouth. I had all these people when they were younger, they get free advice. And that's pretty much what it was worth. Oh, okay, just sit down. That young couple, I think I've talked about it here, just after their book came out. They had their book, early 20s, had a couple of little babies, writing a book on how to raise children. You have lost your mind. They're going to be using those books for toilet paper. Nobody, you got nothing to say. You got a couple of little preschoolers. Shut up. Just be quiet. Write about stuff. Talk about stuff you don't know what you're talking about. If I'm going to read a book on raising children, I'm going to talk to some of you older folks where you've raised some kids. You made it through them with the teenage years when you wanted to kill them every day. But you didn't. By faith. And I'm going to talk to, see, that's why we need these older people. And if you're here today, who's this reserved for? Nobody sitting here? All right. Here's the deal. Some of you older folks in your 60s, mid-60s, late 60s, and you're already retired, what's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? You're just getting started, man. You have collected the wisdom, the knowledge, the experience. Please, move to New York. Come help me. I need you. Yeah, I need young people, sort of, but I need older folks that get it. They've been there. They've got it. They've got it here, and they got it here. See? Some Christians have it here, but they don't have it here. Others have it here, and they're dumb as a rock. You got to find people that have it both, head and heart. The kingdom of God needs older men, women of experience, of faith, that they have shared a lifetime. Me retiring? Where are you going to go? What? You're going to go to Florida? You can tell. You can tell in Florida, you can tell what denomination they were by the length of their shorts. No, it's true. The ones with the shorts up here, they're Baptists. The ones with the shorts under their knees, no, they're Pentecostal. Yeah. It's written all over them. 700 men that were picked, not by accident, but on purpose, by choice. Why? Because they had it. They got it. They knew the fight. They understood the fight. They knew the giftings that God had put in them, and their commitment was stronger than their emotions. And they said, whatever it takes. We got to have a whatever it takes generation coming up. I'm hard on you young people for a reason, because some of you got to be toughened up. You're just not tough enough for real life, for where life is taking us, for where we're going. You might could have made it 20 years ago. Not now. Not now. It's a different world now, folks. It's a different world. We've got to rise up to the occasion. 700 men. So if you haven't been wounded, man, you ought to be so excited right now. You should buy me lunch. But your time's coming. Oh, your time's coming. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. When I got busted up in Haiti a couple weeks ago, let me tell you something. I wasn't going to tell you this, but it fits right here. So when the CIA guy took my arm, we were walking away, and I'm watching this woman bleed out, and she's crying as I'm walking away. And I asked the interpreter, one of my guys, I said, "What you saying?" She said, "Please don't leave me." See, this is what I live with, folks. That's why a Christian psychiatrist, if there is such a thing, told me, he said, you shouldn't even be able to put two sentences together. You should never be able to speak in public. What you are looking at, folks, here is the grace of God. I shouldn't be able to do this. I know that. At 73, and I'm still got, and I'm getting in fights like I'm 23. I liked it then, and I like it now. Maybe even a little more now. Like I said, the life sentence, not a deterrent for me. Not anymore. Do you understand this, folks? You see where this is going? If you have not been wounded in battle, your time's coming. So just understand that. Just understand. You're going to be in a battle. You're going to be in a struggle. You're going to be, an enemy will throw whatever he can to debilitate you, to take you out of the fight. Because if you go out of the fight, there is a gap now that you have left because you have taken yourself out of the fight. He threw it at you, but you made the choice to stay or go. You know what I'm saying. All right. Second thing I noticed, write this down. Second thing, when you get wounded, not if, when. When you get wounded, you have two choices. I don't care what anybody tells you. You got two choices. Now, what's the president's name now at ORU? What is it? Oh, he's the wannabe Billy Wilson. Okay. Okay. I'm the real Bill Wilson. Yeah, I'm just saying. Just want to make sure we have the personality straight here. Exactly. Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. When you get wounded, you got two choices, and you can tell them this over there at the school. Tell them the real Bill Wilson said this. You got two choices, stay or go. What's up? That's in the Hebrew. You can't read it, but it's there. What's up? Stay or go. What you going to do? Pick it, folks. Pick it. What you going to do? Stay or go? Walk away? Feel sorry for yourself? Throw in the towel? Whatever terminology you want to use? Stay or go? You got 700 men that said, nope, we're not going anywhere. We're going to take that thing that the enemy threw at us. It's going to make us tougher. It's going to make us better. It's going to make us more accurate. It's going to make us more proficient. It's going to make us a better warrior, better soldier. Don't miss the profundity, folks, in this truth. Don't miss this. So you don't hear people talk about this stuff much in the Old Testament. There's deep hidden truths here. If you can get it, that thing has the ability to, by the time you walk out of here in these next couple of minutes, We could trade stories, sure. You want to trade stories? I'd love to trade stories. I had a German guy. We were in Berlin, I think. He heard me speak, and he comes up to the back, typical German. I'm half Scottish, half German, so I get it. He goes, I think I've had a tougher life than you. I said, really? He said, yes. He said, matter of fact, I'm willing to wager, to bet you. Well, I'm never one to turn down a bet. So I said, okay. I said, how much you got? He goes, I have €100. I said, okay, I got $100. So I said, you want to go first? You want me to go first? He said, you can start. So I started all the way back, all the way back. A lot of you don't know all the way back. You know some of it, stuff that I've shared with you over the years. But you weren't around when my sister was a prostitute. You weren't there when I cleaned the toilets in the bar where my mother was a bartender. You weren't there. Yeah, I get that. See, that's why some of you wonder why I still go to the corner where my mother left me on Christmas Eve. I've called some of you on Christmas Eve. Just wish you Merry Christmas. I sit all night in the same place I sat for those 3 days when my mother left me. I sit there all night Christmas Eve by myself. Why? Why? Because I never want to forget where I came from. I'll never forget where I came from. I know exactly where I came from. Exactly. And by the way, for some of you, particularly the younger folks, they keep hearing that America is a bad country. That is bad. Let me tell you something. Travel with me a little bit. And when you get back at the Tulsa airport, you'll get down and kiss the ground at the airport. America is still the greatest country in the world. Bar none. Don't argue it. Don't argue it. And if you think otherwise, you're a fool. Because it means you haven't traveled much. It means you don't know your history. It's not about anything else. It's about what has happened, why it happened. This Thanksgiving, every one of us, needs to be extremely thankful that we live in this country, to live in this nation. As big a tough times as we're going through right now, better days are ahead. Better days are ahead. We can trade stories. And I walked that German guy through it. And at the end I said, your turn. He just gave me the €100. I said, yeah, that's right, sucker. I'd take your money. I gave it to missions, but I took that guy's money. You knew I was going to take the money. I'm not going to let somebody get off the hook that easy. You get wounded, you got a choice. So it was on that same trip in Germany. I ran out of toothpaste. So I'm looking. I know I speak a little bit of German, understand some, but not enough to go buy toothpaste. I'm in the middle of the night. I got my other guy. He's American. He's dumb as I am. So we're looking, can't find it, can't read German. I need toothpaste. Guy goes. So it's like 3 a.m, right? He goes, I think this is toothpaste. Okay, you think it's toothpaste. Okay, bro. Okay, yeah. It could be preparation H, okay? I don't know. You don't think it's toothpaste. You better know. So I was so mad, I just looked around. Finally, I just opened it up and opened the thing, popped the top, and I just went to, just took a breath. Yep, see, it's just like life, folks. You really don't know what's in you. You really don't. See, you think you're all that and a bag of chips? No, don't talk to me. Wrong guy. Save it. Get squeezed. Let life squeeze you. Let life put the pressure on you. And then let's see what comes out of you. Because that will be the true test of what's really inside you. Get squeezed by some stuff. Squeezed by pressure. Any kind of battle, struggle. And then let's see what you got. Don't tell me, show me. Show me. When you get wounded, you got 2 choices. Stay or go. But last, number 3, if you decide to stay, and I'm hoping, this is what my prayer was, I'm praying that some of you will just say, I'm staying in the fight. No matter what happens, no matter what the enemy throws at me, I'm staying, going nowhere. I mean, think about this. Where would I go? Because after this last thing, when I got shot in Syria by that sniper, people, oh, he's tough, but he's going to retire now. Retire and go where? Exactly. Where do people like me go? Tulsa? Could you see me living here? Could you see that? He'd be bailing me out of jail about once a month. We'd be raising an offering once a month for my bail. Because to me, there's only, on the card you fill out, there's an M and an F. There is no X. You're either a male or you're a female. You don't get to choose which one you are. And there shouldn't be a place for the idiots that decide what they are. You shouldn't talk like that. Well, when you get the microphone, you can say whatever you want. I've earned the mic. Yeah. It's M or F. It's one or the other. Did you ever think we'd be living at a time with this kind of foolishness? And I want to be called by a pronoun. Yeah, pronoun this. I'll give you a pronoun. Did you ever think that we'd be living in this time? I wouldn't. The world has changed quick, guys. It's changing quick. That's why, for those of us that have taken a stand, we stand. And having done all to stand, we just stand. Oh, you're old-fashioned. Nah, tell me that at the back table. I wish you would. I wish you would. Let me tell you something. This country was founded on biblical principles. The world only exists because there's a group of Christians that still exist in this world. If Christians were taken out of this world, folks, this thing in Haiti reminded me, when you have a country where its national religion is voodoo, which it is in Haiti, let me tell you something, folks, it's not a game. And for some of you younger folks, this is not a game. It's not some little game that you play. Yeah, I'll push a button. This isn't a game. This is real life. The real world is real life. And when you see a young girl, and I would not normally say this, but I'm going to tell you because it fits. And they're trying to get her, they're praying over, she's demon possessed. And I'm not trying to play a weird card with you, but I know the reality from the not reality because I've been on both sides of that. And I watched that girl scream, jump up, hit one of the pastors in the face, and she crawled on all fours up the wall and was hanging on all fours from the ceiling. You ever been around somebody that's been demon possessed? Probably not. But when you are, you'll know it, and it is no game. It's real life, my friends. He knows it. He's seen it. I've seen it. And for some of you that think, oh, there is no such thing. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Go with me on my next trip to Haiti. Let's see how well you do. This is the reality. If you decide to stay, I'm not going anywhere. This will sound a bit dramatic, but I'll say it in closing. I'll have 3 closings. This is the first one. In closing. Okay? I'll die doing this. There's no question about that. There's no question about that. You'll hear it somewhere. He'll tell you somewhere. They may even put a video up on the screen. Hey, remember this guy? Yeah, he's dead. I'll die doing this. And you know what? I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem. Because I know whom I have believed. And I'm still persuaded that he's still able to keep that which I have committed unto him against that day. There's no going back. I'm in the fight, man. You're in the fight. This fight's bigger than all of us. Bigger than all of us. I wish I could get around a bunch of young people that had some guts, that had some drive, that had some spine to say whatever it takes. Well, you know, it's 5 o'clock and you don't quit at 5. You quit when the job's done. See, that's old school. You don't quit till the job's done. Plain and simple. So if you decide to stay, if that's your choice, and you say, this is it. You need a close-up of me with this? Yeah, you got that? Okay, right here. Okay. Get that one up there. Make sure you get that in the shot. You decide to stay. Let's give it the best we got, folks. Let's give it the best we got. There's no walking away from this battle. There's too much at stake here. There's too much on the line here. Those 700 men knew it. They got it. They could have went home. Never thought, but no, we're going to be better. And everything that enemy threw at us, we're going to turn around and shove it in his face, and we're going to be better. This is closing number 2. We'll go to number 3. We're done. So, when I got shot by that sniper in Syria, we were there to do Sunday school and do medical work. And it wasn't an overnight thing. They would bring them in flatbed trucks at 9 o'clock in the morning. We'd work with them, do the medical work, and they'd go then in the evening. But I was watching this lady. This was the day before I got shot. So this lady's walking with a little baby like this. She's walking up the ramp to get to us. And the security, heavy security, because there's landmines around on the outside. It was an old Israeli camp used in the Yom Kippur War. And we had got it through a long series of events that we were working there. And I saw she was struggling. And I'm yelling, open the gate, open the gate. So they finally open the gate. So me and the interpreter are running down there to try to get her, but she falls. She falls, she drops the child. So I pick up the boy. The interpreter helps pick the lady up. And obviously, she's speaking Arabic. That's why I had the interpreter. And she was crying. She kept looking at me, saying, and then I found out what she was saying. She was saying, help my boy. Help my boy. And I noticed his right arm was wrapped up, bandaged up. And so I told the interpreter, I said, ask her what was wrong. So apparently, that's when al-Assad, the president, was doing barrel bomb runs on his own people. Okay? And it was, you could see it at night. It was about 20 clicks from our camp. You could see it at night. They were doing the bombing runs on a ridge. And in one of those runs, apparently a piece of shrapnel had cut her son's arm. I mean, it was, because I unwrapped it, I wanted to see. And it almost looked like someone had taken a hatchet. It was a clean chop, chopped his hand off. But it happened 2 weeks earlier. Exactly. And gangrene already set in. And so now, and I can't put this over to you guys like I wish I could, but man, I wish I could. Because you're standing out in the middle of the desert, right? And you're looking at this. She's saying, please help my boy. Please help my boy. And I told the interpreter, I said, tell her I can't help him. There's nothing I can do. You want to know why I'm getting the medical degree now? The MD? You know why? Because I'm tired of telling people I can't help them. Now, I don't know if that makes sense to all of you, but for some of you it will. I said, I can't help him. She said, please help him. I said, tell her I can't help him. And then she's got a paper bag. She reaches into a paper bag and pulls out the boy's hand. She had gone through the rubble after the bombing, found her son's hand, and now she's holding his hand like this. Please help my boy. Please help him. I said, I can't help him. And then she reached over and she just took her son back and she turned around and she walked away. And I just watched her walk down the ramp, walk out. Now, let me tell you something. You want to sit around, we can tell stories all day. I can't explain to you how I felt watching that lady walk away. I can't, because I've thought about it. I can't. And you say, why do you still do this? Why do you go get involved in, why did you go into Afghanistan? And why? See, I used to do my best with just right hand. But over the years, I've been in a lot of battles, been in a lot of struggles. His arm kind of hurts. It's a funny little story that, because, we visit all the kids in the Sunday school every week, and it was several years back. I may have told you guys this before, but these 3 knuckles here really started hurting. I thought, great, arthritis, perfect. So I went and the doctor, he x-rays it, and he puts it up there. He goes, your fingers there have been damaged. I said, let me look, because I know this stuff. I said, let me look at it. And you could see little hairline cracks right here. He said, what? And I thought, okay, I got in a fight somewhere. But that was these. It's not these. I thought, what did I do? And then it hit me. I thought, you dummy. See, for all these years, I've been knocking on doors, inviting kids to ride the bus to come to Sunday school. He said, well, you can't do that anymore. I said, I think maybe another 40 years, maybe another 50, maybe. So you come to that place when you've seen so much and you've heard so much. You been there yet? You ever cried so much you got no tears left? You will someday. You will someday. And you go, can't do it anymore. You take all of that stuff that the enemy has thrown at you to try to get you to quit, and you put it all together in a nice little package, and you say, this has all been preparation. Yeah, it's all been prep. See, I'm probably more excited about the work of God right now than I was even when I started. Why? Because it's all been prep, folks. It's all been prepped for me. My whole life has been prepped for right now. That's why I can go to Haiti. That's why I got the call to go to Haiti. That's why we just got the okay from the South Sudan government, the letter that said, please come to South Sudan. You can go anywhere you want. Carte blanche to do Sunday school all over this country. Please, we need to do it. Now countries are coming to us. Governments are coming to us to say, please, can you help us? That didn't happen 20 years ago. Didn't happen 10 years ago. Happened now. Why? Because I didn't quit. Because I didn't quit. Could have. Wanted to. The sin is not wanting to quit. The sin's when you quit. That's when it happens. That time in the desert, it's all prep, folks. The desert experience, it's always been prep. And I watched that lady walk away. And everything in me. You ever have those moments where it's just that everything is beating on you? I've had plenty of reasons to walk away. But in these last years of my life, I'm looking at you and I'm telling you, we're going to do more for God in this last season than I've ever done up to this point. Because it's time, folks. It's time. So, what's that old song we used to sing? We don't sing anymore. Got any rivers you think are uncrossable? That's an old one. I like the old songs. Got any tunnels you can't tunnel through? God specializes in things thought impossible. And he will do what no other power can do. It's our time, folks. It's our time. Father, I love you and I thank you. And I ask you, Lord, in the quietness of this moment. And Lord, we look back at those 700 men. Very easy for them to say, no, I've been hurt now. I've been beat up now. I can't go on anymore. I'm tired. I'm tired of fighting. Let somebody else take my place. Yeah. But those 700 men were just a little bit different. They saw some things. They saw some things. That I guess a lot of other folks didn't. They stepped stayed in the battle, came out on the other side. So, Father, I'm grateful that I've been able to live this long, to see what I've seen, to be a part of what I've been able to be a part of. And I thank you. I thank you. Lord, you know I'm not going to waste the rest of it. You know I'm not. You know I'm not. So strengthen my friends today. Give them health. Give them strength. Let them be thankful. Let the young men and young women understand the great heritage that they represent. Let them see beyond themselves. And for the older folks that have been through their share of fights, yeah, it's not over yet. It ain't over. So strengthen us, Lord. Because there's still a little boy sitting on a corner. Little girl being sold today. And here we are. The battle rages. But I think there's some folks that are willing to be left-handed and better because of the fight, better because of the struggle, better because of everything, even we've been through in these last 2 years. I thank you for your blood. I thank you for the cross. I thank you for waking me up today. Thank you, Lord. And what a sacrifice that saved my life. Yes, the blood, it is my victory.